Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Shravani Biswas from the Department of English and Foreign Languages, Tezpur University. In this module, I am going to talk about heroism and heroes. The modern age, while turning its focus on the mundane and the ordinariness on the human race, also has another face like Janus. It is in constant search of a hero. While industrialism and capitalism have turned thousands into machines that keep well-oiled the force of production, it also creates real-life stories about the journey of the pauper who turns into a prince. Thus, perhaps, the search for a hero to emulate is a basic tendency of the human race. It has caught up as an academic subject of study, especially under the aegis of cultural studies, though there have been many writers who had contributed to this field much before it became an academic practice. Philip G. Zimbardo, Zeno E. Franco, and Kathy Blau, in their paper, Heroism, Conceptual Analysis and Differentiation between Heroic Action and Altruism, write, heroism represents the ideal of citizens transforming civic action, accept either physical peril or social sacrifice. While implicit theories of heroism abound, surprisingly, little theoretical or empirical work has been done to better understand the phenomenon. If there is, according to the above authors, a lack of theoretical or practical work on the idea of hero and heroism, there has not been any dearth of hero worship throughout ages. It cannot be denied that the idea of the hero was born with the birth of human language, be it oral or written. The binaries ingrained in language would imagine a hero to counter the anti-hero or villain. We have no idea about the caveman roaming in the wild. They certainly could emulate and venerate in cave carvings those phenomena of nature that they saw around them, or even those beyond their comprehension. But till date, there has been no indication that they had any idea of the concept of hero and heroism. Therefore, we may hypothesize that the hero was born with the birth of the so-called civilization when tribes or communities created for themselves a cultural space to entertain each other during leisure. Stories of heroism are inspiring and therefore definitely engrossing for those who were incapable of achieving the heroic height but capable of imagining its glory. This idea is well stated in the essay Heroism, a conceptual analysis and differentiation between heroic action and altruism by the above authors. Heroism is frequently viewed as an apex of human behavior. Watching a heroic act is compelling, literally commanding our attention. We often feel that while we, as individuals, would like to achieve heroic status, this goal must be a remote possibility reserved for an elect few with special skills or luck. Heroism, the attribute of the hero, is a human construction. It is pertinent to ask, why is it that the human race through ages have chosen or constructed their own heroes? Is it a phenomenon that binds a particular race or tribe into a unit that would not fall apart and degenerate, but move towards a better civilization? A child emulates its parents, then the teacher, and then some hero from his or her field of preference or interest, be it a warrior, politician, film star, singer. The list is never ending, but undoubtedly, this is how the growth of the individual or community, tribe or race works its ways towards a future which is always better. It is the natural human urge for life on this green planet. Though the word hero and heroism have entered our daily vocabulary and seem to be the easiest idea to understand, a serious effort to analyze the phenomenon poses a lot of obstructions. Writers trying to capture the idea and theorize it have perceived numerous contradictions or paradoxes. Even the field or school cannot be defined that could undertake this task. If literature has projected innumerable heroes, psychologists too have tried to define the attributes of heroism as civil courage, courageous resistance, extreme altruism, moral courage, etc. Zimbardo and his co-authors have found in this effort a lack of direct negotiation with the term heroism. Heroism is temporal as well as spatial. Mankind has seen a continuous evolution of heroes through ages. It is culture-specific as well as school-specific. Thus, it is spatial. The idea of the hero alters with age, and often a villain of a previous age is discovered by a later age to have noble, heroic attributes. Now I am going to speak about the changing concepts of heroism and hero. The general notion of the hero is that of a person noted for nobility, courage, and outstanding achievement. Chambers' 20th century dictionary defines the ancient meaning of the hero as a man of superhuman strength, courage, ability. A man is favored by the gods. This is definitely indicating the heroes of myths and epics as that of heroes in Homer. They are almost demigods, said to be the offspring of a god or goddess and human being. The later notion, according to the dictionary, included men of renown, supposed to be deified on account of great and noble deeds, for which they were venerated. They are the intermediates between gods and men and are immortal. In literature, they are the male principal figure or the one whose career is the thread of the story. However, the definition of heroism is supposed to change with time and with the paradigm shift in worldview, though it does not denigrate the aura or glory of past heroes. For example, the antique Greek meaning of the hero is that of a demigod. A particular human being is favored by gods and is blessed with a position of superhuman qualities. As scientific skepticism as well as humanism emerged, the concept of the hero changed, and instead of a character who is a demigod, the hero becomes the icon of the masses. With the emergence of feminism, there is a paradigm shift and a female hero is recognized. Old tales are retold with the spotlight illuminating women whose noble and courageous acts were, in the past, overshadowed by the male counterparts. Dr. Andrew Bernstein, in his essay, The Philosophical Foundation of Heroism, writes, "Whatever one's individual tastes in heroes, one fact is abundantly clear. The great men and women whose achievements provide inspiration for millions come with an assortment of specific characteristics. Some are predominantly physicalist heroes, some primarily intellectual, some are excellent examples of principle of mind-body integration. Some are grand-scale characters, towering through a work of fiction, whether on the printed page, stage, or screen, while some perform their great and notable deeds in actual existence. More practically, some are male, some are female, some are white, some black, some oriental. The act of heroism is positive, that definitely distinguishes him or her from the rest. The qualities of the hero, that is heroism, though have some universal traits, their actions that are venerated vary from culture to culture. Before Christianity settled in the Western world, the activities of the hero were secular and more focused on physical and mental strength that was not plastic or malleable. The war was the space where these heroes were mostly born through their actions. The world of the hero was made of darkness, indicating evil that the hero should overcome and bring justice and honor back. In their actions, they were mostly helped by gods and goddesses. Several examples may be cited from the European as well as the Indian epics. In the medieval times in Europe, the heroic figure were the knights, and their heroism depended in following the ideals of chivalry, like fighting pagans under the banner of Christianity, protecting the poor, and safeguarding the honor of women. Knighthood was awarded to men and was non-hereditary. The knight was usually awarded the rank by a sovereign after service of page and squire. It was a recognition of his merit of chivalric nature. Chivalry was the medieval knightly system with its religious, moral, and social codes. The qualities expected of a knight were courage, honor, courtesy, justice, and the readiness to help the weak. Women were honored and protected by the knights, and they often fought duels in the cause of a particular woman. The culture is specifically European and of the post-Christianity age. The knights whose tales became famous around the name of King Arthur were the protectors of Christianity. Thus, all the non-Christians, especially those who were fighting on the opposite side of the knights, were held as villainous. Very little is known about the bravery and noble deeds of those who stood against the knights. This kind of heroism also generated the ideal of patriarchy. In ancient and medieval times, there were the civilizations too who had their own myths of heroism, which do not always tally with the Western concept of heroism. For example, the Indian epics uphold heroism of those who protected Dharma, which is not the equivalent of religion in the Western sense. According to Wikipedia, Dharma in Hinduism signifies behaviors that are considered to be in accord with the order that makes life possible. It is also related to the hero's reaction to the cosmic world. It includes rights, responsibilities, conducts, laws, virtues, and the ideal way of living for the benefit of a community or people. It is a concept of central importance in Indian philosophy. The dictionary defines the hero as a man noted for nobility, courage, outstanding achievement, etc. They are also demigods said to be the offspring of a god or goddess and a human being. In Europe, two most popular epical and mythical heroes fall in this category. One is Achilles and the other is Gilgamesh. In the Indian epic Mahabharata, all the Pandavas and Karna are the children of Kunti and Gandhari, the wives of the king Pandu, and different gods. However, among them all, Karna and Arjuna are specially popular heroes. In the Iliad, Achilles and Hector score much higher than many other war heroes of this epic. If we take Achilles and Karna, we'll perceive some features common in them that give them an aura and so a wide support as popular heroes. Both are demigods in the sense that Achilles was the son of Peleus, king of Myrmidons in Phthia, and a sea nymph. Karna was the son of a virgin princess Kunti and Surya, the solar deity. Both Achilles and Karna are known for their courage, physical ability, and incredible battle skills. Yet they are generous and noble and follow their own principles and values so fervently that they stand out as lonely figures and not community men. Achilles leaves the battle once as he is hot-headed and would not compromise with his own principle. Karna too, sensible enough to know that the Kurus were on the wrong, supported them in order to pay for the friendship of Duryodhana. Even when it was revealed that he was the eldest of the Pandavas, he would ascend the throne if he fought the battle and won. He would have been the king. But he chose to remain loyal to Duryodhana and the king of a small kingdom, Anga. Both had human weaknesses too. In his anger, Achilles mutilated the body of Hector, but when Priam asked for the corpse of his son Achilles, he is filled with remorse, gives the corpse of Hector to Priam. Karna too is the epitome of generosity, and while praying, if someone came and asked for a favor, he would give it without a second thought. Thus, he gave away his kavach and kundal with which he was born and which made him invincible. They are often faced with very tough decision-making situations. Both stand as tragic characters. Achilles was invincible too, except his heel, which his mother forgot to wet when she bathed him in the river Styx. He was defeated by being pierced in the heel. Karna's strength was in his armor, with which he was born, a gift from his sire, the sun god Surya Dev, which he generously gave away. Karna was one of the greatest warriors whose martial exploits could not be challenged. Arjuna, supposed to be the central hero of Mahabharata, was in fact projected by his teacher Dronacharya as hero, one who was invincible. But Karna had the skill and power to vanquish Arjuna. This fact was confessed by Krishna and Bhishma, who admired Karna. Karna single-handedly had conquered all the kings in his Vidya-mitra, a record set in Mahabharata. Yet, he did this for his friend Duryodhana as the emperor of the world and not for himself. He was satisfied to be the king of a small kingdom, Anga, and his friend had gifted him this country. Being the eldest brother of the Pandavas, he could have joined hands with them as the Pandavas were sure to win the battle of Kurukshetra. He fought against his fate throughout his life, yet he had the capacity to be generous. In fact, along with Karna, Mahabali and Harishchandra too are famous heroes in Hindu mythology, known for their patience, their struggle with fate, and then generosity. Raja Harishchandra's story resembles the story of Job in the Old Testament, whose faith and loyalty was tested by God. It shows that adoration for heroes cannot be defined. There are some very complex and often self-contradictory factors which cannot be defined in simple terms that make men adore their heroes. However, though Achilles and Karna have never fallen short of their glamour in the long passage of time, the definition of the hero certainly changed with time. As a later notion, the dictionary included men of renown supposed to be deified on account of their great and noble deeds, for which they were venerated generally or locally. They are intermediates between men and gods and immortal. In literature, they are the male principal figure who are essential in molding the powers, storyline, and in a history of historical fiction, a man of superhuman powers. This hero is definitely a male who had shown extraordinary capacity as a soldier, a patriot, a scientist, a politician, and so on. There is no end to the field where one might achieve the height of a hero. They seem to us out of this world, larger than life. They are mostly winners, both in physical and spiritual terms. As we are aware, the definition of heroic conduct and qualities change with time, though it does not take away the glory of the past heroes. The antique Greek meaning of the hero is one with superhuman qualities, favored by the gods, a demigod. Again, there are heroes who suffer in spite of all the qualities and become the victims of fate or some inherited curse. Oedipus is one example. Aristotle defined the tragic hero, showing the example of Oedipus, who cannot escape his fate, and conflict is resolved by the downfall of the hero. In Greek revenge tragedies, a series of murders occur where the heroes suffer for inheriting the fruit of misdeed by his ancestor. The stories of the family history of Agamemnon is one example. Much later, Shakespeare made important modification in the idea of the tragic hero. In his tragedies, the entire responsibility is laid on the hero who, for some weakness in character, brings his own ruin. Yet, he too is a great person with superior human qualities. His fall for an error creates tragedy. In spite of his fall, he retains the status of the hero. Shakespearean heroes show human traits. Gradually, as scientific skepticism as well as humanism emerged, the concept of hero changed, and instead of a character who is a demigod, the hero became the icon of the mass. During the Romantic period, the concept of the hero included retrogrades and revolutionary characters. These heroes subverted the idea of man as socially constructed, moral, and responsible. They are often lonely subjects, averse to any form of boundary. They are proud adventurers in search of some utopian world that would allow freedom from the shackles made by man. Milton's Paradise Lost projects Satan as such a character who attracts admiration for daring to revolt against God, who seems dictatorial. Some romantic writers themselves postulated such careless freedom of spirit in their own lives. In this respect, we may name Shelley and Byron. There is another paradigm shift with the emergence of feminism. Female heroes are recognized. Often old tales are retold with the spotlight illuminating the greatness of the women who were earlier overshadowed by their male counterparts. In a patriarchal framework, when a woman shows traits that are considered as masculine, they are considered as unnatural and often hunted down by society as witches. One of the earliest and famous examples is Joan of Arc. Her fame and worth is retrieved in the modern times, and she is adored as a great heroine. In spite of culture and local differences, according to Bernstein, the heroic is universal in the sense that it is never mundane, trivial, everyday, the pedestrian, the unheroic. It is the vanquisher of the evil or the villainous, the monstrous, and the anti-heroic. The Western philosophical trend from the beginning has created the body-mind binary, where the mind belongs to the higher category of spirituality, while the body is in touch with the lower qualities of the carnal or the material. Bernstein argues that it is the physical which is more effectual, while the mind or spirit is a hypersensitive, hand-wringing weakling, too fine for the world. He gives the examples of Jesus as a perfect example of the meek lamb, the impotent deity, and adds that Hamlet is a perfect example of this side of man. He insists that through the lip service given to venerating the mindly or the spiritual, when it comes to hero worship, it is physicality, the practical and effectual, that comes up as an example. This is the overwhelming majority of heroes admired by mankind. And he adds that the dictionaries define the concept of heroes in almost exclusively physicalist terms. But the dictionary meanings are quite lacking or incomplete. Heroes of undefeatable physical prowess are instigated by a willpower and great devotion to the cause of good, and this is what creates heroes out of them. Christ was crucified, and Hamlet remained defeated in life, yet they are the heroes worshipped, loved, and admired by mankind. Though Bernstein hesitated to give them the hero status, yet the minds that were so noble to accommodate human tragic suffering for the cause of good, the minds that questioned evil, cannot but attract great admiration. Thus, the moral stature of the hero becomes crucial because characters who are evil, even though they possess immense physical prowess, they are not heroes but are considered as brutes. The basic requirements like food, cloth, shelter, and the thirst for the means to achieve a good life, including science, morality, ethics, need to be satisfied. These requirements are built-in values in man, but it requires a lot of effort and are not always satisfied. The moral prerequisite of the hero is to either create these values or defend them against antagonistic or parasitic forces who want to enjoy such privileges or fruits of man's efforts. The hero stands above others in his commitment to a noble purpose. According to Aristotle, a true hero is distinct from others by the greatness of soul. Thus, the combination is not mere muscle power, but a true and noble combination of mind and body. In the West, the modern concept of the hero is that of one who is the holder of rational values and dedicated to the cause of moral rationality and who remains undaunted even if defeated. One of the characteristics of the hero is courage, which means mental or moral strength to withstand and defeat the evil and fearful. This he does to stand by his own principle. According to Anne Morrow Lindbergh, in the modern age, the media takes up a considerable role in creating heroes. The people, mass, or community are overwhelmed by an abundance of public media, constantly creating images of public figures. She says that the image of a hero is blown up overnight and torn down a few months later. This is particularly true in cases of politicians or sportspersons. It creates a confusion in terms of evaluation of a true hero who would meet the expectations that are universally appreciated in a hero. According to Hume, the modern age is the age of banality, where there is hardly anything out of the ordinary. Yet the innate tendency of faith, devotion, perseverance, self-sacrifice has to be fulfilled, but without the craving of applause through extravagant actions or gestures. So the new idea of the hero is that of someone who is not an extrovert, and the heroism should not be worn on the sleeve. It seeks concealment in everyday attire. So the hero comes out of the ordinary people, the chance passerby, the bystanders, the witness of some atrocity, the ordinary soldier, or the firefighter. But again, according to Hume, there is to be perceived the emergence of a new type of hero. The type evolves through the crisis of modern age. Joseph Campbell calls it the collapse of the timeless universe of symbol. The modern society is no longer supported by the symbols of God, and society now grows around economic and political institutions. Materialism has overwhelmed the voices of morality and rituals. The ordinary man in the modern time has lost a sense of purpose apart from making a living and looking forward to an old age pension, which too depends on the economy of the nation. He is tagged to the dividing ideologies of nationalism, patriotism, or communalism, and is often bogged by a dilemma or incapacity to choose. These heroes are shown in literatures of Dostoevsky in the form of the Underground Man, in William Loman in Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller, or Gregor Samsa in Kafka's Metamorphosis. This type of hero is again different from the soldier or the fireman who, though imperceptible as being part of a group, are outwardly active. It is evident from the above discussion that the idea of the hero and heroism that qualifies the hero have both universal as well as temporal traits. With the dissemination of English literature across countries, it is the European idea of the hero and heroism that have come into prominence, though the non-European countries too have their own list of heroes and heroines. The concept of heroism has changed through ages according to the changes in culture, society, and politics. Thinkers from Aristotle, Rousseau to Hume have contributed in theorizing the concepts in accordance to their historical milieu. Though generally a hero is considered as an epitome of nobility who is a larger-than-life human, often a demigod, it cannot be the last word to describe them. Today I would conclude the discussion on hero and heroism. Thank you.